Hello everyone, it's Diegodoom here, and today I would like to say thank you. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to absolutely everyone. I have reached over 530,000 video views and over 2,000 subscribers. Thanks everyone. I want to give a very special thank you to all my subscribers. I sincerely appreciate that you guys enjoy my videos so much that you'd like to stay consistently connected with me. I have made a lot of great connections here on YouTube with my subscribers, and I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching, thanks for the supportive comments, thanks for the constructive criticism, thanks for subscribing, and most of all, thanks for the support. In celebration of hitting the 2,000 subscriber milestone, I have upgraded my collection storage space, so we're going to finally take a look at my entire collection. This has been something that's been requested by many of my subscribers, so now your request will be filled. Before we do that, let's reflect back on my old collection storage space. I first started collecting figures back in June of 2011. My very first two figures were the Ex-Gokin GX49 Shin Mazinger Z plus Big Bang Punch and the Aoshima Shinseki Gokin New Getter 1. My initial storage space was my kitchen table. It was a small space that did not last very long as my collection grew very quickly. Fast forward a few months later, a loved one bought me a bookcase to store my collection. As you can see, it was a fairly large bookcase, and at the time was more than enough space for my figures. A year and a half later, I managed to fill up my bookcase completely. Now I have to retire my old bookcase and say hello to my brand new bookcase. Let's check out my new bookcase as well as my entire collection. So now let's take a look at my brand new bookcase as well as my entire collection. So we'll look up here. Everything looks absolutely fantastic and definitely very cool. Now first and foremost, I want to warn everyone. I am shooting this live and straight from the hip, so please bear with me. Things will constantly go in and out of focus, so I'll do my best to keep everything as clean as possible. So before we jump into the collection, let's talk about the bookcase itself. This bookcase is absolutely fantastic and definitely very cool. This bookcase comes from IKEA and it's part of the Billy bookcase system, which is very nice. And what I like about this bookcase specifically is I can actually upgrade this with more shelves or even attach doors. So it's very nice there. And I want to put doors on this maybe next month because I want to keep my figures as clean as possible, because as we are in the winter months, the heat is on more often, which means there's more static electricity, which means there's more dust, and my figures get dirty pretty quick. So I just want to cut down on how often I clean my figures, because right now I clean them 2 to 3 times a month, and that takes anywhere between 2 to 4 hours to do. And I must admit, it's getting pretty old, so I want to keep my figures as clean as possible. So we'll get those doors on there and keep everything nice and tidy. Now I chose this bookcase over the Deltoff cases. They're very popular. Yes, they're cool and full of glass and stuff, but they're nowhere near as tall. Plus, they don't hold as much space, and even furthermore, there is a gap between the front door and the side panel, which means dust will get in there, and that means you'll be bound to clean your figures constantly. So that's why I chose this over the Deltoffs, and I really do enjoy this brand new upgrade. So very nice there. So let's go ahead and jump into the collection. So starting with the top shelf here, we'll get in very close and kind of focus all this. So the top shelf are my Ex-Gokin figures. So we have Getter 3, Getter 2, and Getter 1 first. Also for my Getter 1 figure, I popped off the chest panel because it was going to fall off anyway. So it's kind of right here. So I guess that's pretty cool. Also, we have the Get Machines out. So very nice there. Kind of focus all that. So very nicely done. Then in the back here, we'll kind of focus all this. We have our Ex-Gokin Great Mazinger 1969. Then we have our Integer 1969. Can I zoom in some? So all these figures look absolutely fantastic. Now, I like to store my Ex-Gokin figures on their stands, and how this all started was Getter 2 here is very top heavy. So I didn't trust him to stand on his own, so I put him on a stand. Then I decided let's go ahead and just put the rest of the figures on the stand. So you know, it doesn't hurt to have that added support. So definitely very cool here. A very expensive shell, so got to keep these guys protected as much as possible. So moving down, next I have my Guyver shelf. So we'll get in here very close. So first we have Zectol, Neo Zectol, Commander Guot is back there. Then also in the way back, that is a 12-inch vinyl Guyver 1 figure. So that's my first piece of fresh vinyl. So shout out to Richard there in the X Plus community. So definitely very cool. Next we have Guyver 3. Kind of focus all this. Gigantic Dark, Guyver 1, Guyver Gigantic. Then we have Murakami here, Imakura Mirabilis, Guyver 2, Aptum, and then Purgstall. So very nice there. I am very fortunate to have the Biofighter collection here. These figures are absolutely fantastic and definitely very cool. I'm very pleased to have these, a staple of my childhood. So moving down, we have the Gokin shelf. So we'll kind of push these guys back in order. So starting with the left here, we have our Night Gear figure. Kind of focus all this and zoom in. So we have a Night Gear figure, Gunbuster, got to keep this all in focus, J-Decker, then we have Godinar in the back, then we have Daigengar, New Getter 1, Might Gain, Daigard, Riobot Gurren Lagann, Daizujin, then we have our SOC Getter 1, Aubin Cider, Tetsujin, then we have our SRC Gurren Lagann and Anti-Gurren Lagann, our Naked Tetsujin, we have Mazen Kaiser Skull, and we have Grindizer, then we have Great Mazinger here, then we have the SOC Integer, then we have our Max Gokin Mazen Kaiser, SOC Big O, our SOC Great Mazinger, then we have our SRC Mazinger Z, our SRC Shin Getter 1, our SRC Shin Mazinger, and then 2 SOC Shin Mazingers back there, and then finally our Great General Darkness and Aoshima figure. Very nice there. So this shelf here is full of that good old die-cast metal. So definitely very cool here. Moving down, we'll get down on one knee here. We have the Monster Art shelf. So all these figures are absolutely fantastic here. So we have our roll calls. So we have Burning Godzilla, the Evolution set with our Aggregate and Crab form, then Flying form. Then we have Destroyer himself. Kind of keep this all in focus. Kind of bear with me here. Then we have our Comic-Con Explosion Godzilla, Fire Rodan in the back. Let's see if we can get in as close as possible. We're trying to make this clean, guys, so kind of bear with me here. So then we have Godzilla Jr., G94, Little Godzilla, Space Godzilla, King Ghidorah. Then we have Gamera here. He needs a Monster Arts figure very badly. Then we have our G64. We have Mogira, Kiryu, and then way in the back, Super Mecha Godzilla. So that's absolutely fantastic and definitely very cool. Now, one thing I'm going to mention, it is very tough storing the Monster Arts figures because of their tails, so you kind of have to place these very strategically, but still very cool. Then moving down, this is the Ultra Act / Figure Arts shelf and random other items. So first on the far left, we have all of our Ultra Acts all the way to the back here. I have a ton of them. So most notably, we have Ultraman Jonias, both versions. That is another staple of my childhood, so definitely very cool there. Next, we have our 2 Figma figures here. So we have Tekkaman Blade and Tekkaman Evil. Behind them, we have Riobot Organ, then Jushin Liger. Then the way back there, those are both the Conti figures, and there's Black Liger or Black Rygar there, so pretty cool. Then now we have our assortment of Figure Arts figures, so all these look absolutely fantastic. They're definitely very cool. So we have our Kamen Riders, our Tiger and Bunny figures. Then we move on to the D-Arts figures, so I only have just 3 of them for right now. I plan to buy more very soon. So it's Rockman, Mega Man X, and Vile back there. Then our obscure figures, the Wingmen, Hero Man's back there in the dark, and Zerum is also back there in the dark. So definitely very cool. Then for the final shelf here, we have our Golza figure and King figure by their lonesome. Now these figures here, they have extremely long tails. I'll show you what I mean. So these guys are very hard to store, but also this shelf is for Biollante since she is on the horizon. So it's definitely very cool. So this is pretty much, let me get up here, my entire collection. Everything is absolutely fantastic and definitely very cool. I really do enjoy the upgrade I made. This is well worth the investment and very nicely done here. So now let's take a moment to talk about positivity. On the subject of positivity, I often receive comments on my videos asking, is there any figure that I do not like, or are there any figures in this world that are not absolutely fantastic? Well, I have 3 figures in my collection that I'm actually dissatisfied with. So first we have D-Art's Izanagi. He was a very cool figure at first, but he has a lot of QC issues that are common with this release. So starting from the top, he is a dinglehead here. The neck joint is a very unique system, and also once it messes up, it is almost impossible to fix, so that was a big downer for me. Also, the bandana here is too heavy for the neck. Then for the elbow joints and knee joints here, as you bend them more and more, they become increasingly loose, so I know eventually they'll actually separate from the figure's body. Then finally, as a whole here, I don't feel like Izanagi was fully realized from the Persona game, so that was my first disappointment. Next we have the Revoltech Yamaguchi Getter 1. So again, this figure was cool at first, but then I realized he has very limited articulation, so he is nowhere near as dynamic as he seems. So we can look up, down, left, right. Then the arms here have this weird slit going on. The elbows are single jointed, also like to pop off a lot. And then also we have the Revoltech joints here, and the legs here, they're just pretty strange, and also these nasty gaps when you bend the knees. So once I picked up the SOC Getter 1 here, this pretty much put the nail in the coffin for a Revoltech Getter 1 here. So that was my second disappointment. Then finally, we have PlayArt's Kai Snake Battle Dress version. So at first, again, I did like this figure until I really looked at the head sculpt. So we're getting here very close. Now, when I look at this head sculpt here, I do not see Snake, aka Big Boss. I see a nice representation of Snake, but the head sculpt is not spot on enough for me. So if I really want that amount of detail, I guess I need to pick up a Hot Toys figure, but I'm not going to do that for a long time. So this figure really disappointed me once I looked at the sculpt. And then also, he has very loose foot joints, which are very common with PlayArt's figures. So this pretty much concludes the segment of positivity. Again, there are a lot of ups and downs in collecting, so I have faced some downs, even though it seems I'm overly positive. So, now that we have the subject of positivity out of the way, let's go ahead and conclude this thank you video. Again, I want to say thank you to absolutely everyone, and furthermore, I want to give an even bigger thank you to all my subscribers. I sincerely appreciate all of your support. I will do my very best to keep making this channel better and better. To stay even more consistently connected with this channel, as well as myself, be sure to like the Facebook fan page, as well as follow me on Google+. Now, I must admit, my Google Plus page is not up to speed, but I will get it there. On both pages, you can expect to see behind-the-scenes photos of current reviews, upcoming reviews, figure hauls, and much more. This has been a thank you video by Diegodoom. Thank you very much for watching, and please stay tuned for more figure reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe.